It was a completely ordinary Thursday afternoon when I walked into the local branch of First National Bank. The air inside smelled of stale coffee, paper, and air conditioning. I had a simple, mundane task: withdraw $500 in cash to pay my landlord, who stubbornly refused to embrace the digital age. I pulled a queue ticket, waited my turn, and stepped up to counter number 3 when my number was called. The teller was a young woman, maybe in her mid-20s, with a neat name tag that read, Elena. She gave me a polite, practiced smile. I slid my debit card and driver's license across the polished counter. "Just $500 from my checking, please," I said, returning her warm smile. Elena swiped the card and began typing. For a moment, the only sound was the rapid, rhythmic clicking of her keyboard. But then, the clicking abruptly stopped. I watched her face drain of color so quickly it looked like a time-lapse video. Her eyes widened, darting from the glowing computer screen to my face, and then, very subtly, to the heavy glass doors right behind me. She leaned forward over the counter, pretending to closely inspect my signature card. When she spoke, her voice was barely a breath, carrying a chilling gravity. "Ma'am, sit down." My heart did a sudden, violent flip in my chest. "Excuse me," I whispered back, my hand instinctively tightening around the strap of my purse. "Do not look back," Elena whispered, her fingers trembling as she pointed toward the waiting area near the glass-walled offices of the loan officers. "Just walk over to the leather chairs on the far left and sit down. Act completely normal. I am calling our floor manager." My mind raced through 1,000 terrifying possibilities. Was there a bank robber standing right behind me? Was I about to get caught in a crossfire? I forced my legs to move, walking with a stiff, artificial casualness to the row of empty chairs. I sat down, my hands shaking so badly I had to lock them together tightly in my lap to keep them still. From my new angle, I could see the reflection in the tinted glass of the manager's office. Sitting a few rows behind where I had just been standing was a man in a dark gray jacket, a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. He wasn't looking at the bank tellers, the brochures, or his phone. He was staring directly at me. My breath hitched. I recognized him. It was the exact same man I had seen idling in a rusted silver sedan outside my driveway when I left the house this morning. I had brushed it off as a neighbor's guest, but now, the pieces began to click into a terrifying picture. Suddenly, a manager in a sharp blue suit, accompanied by an off-duty police officer who served as the bank's security guard, walked over to me. They didn't make a scene. The manager, a kind-faced man named David, knelt beside my chair as if he were just checking in on a customer. "Ma'am, I need you to stay as calm as possible," David said in a low, soothing tone. "When Elena ran your card, a high-priority red alert popped up on your account. It was flagged just 20 minutes ago by your husband." "My husband?" I gasped, the air leaving my lungs. "What did he say? Is he okay?" The security guard stood protectively between my chair and the lobby, his hand resting casually near his holster, blocking the man in the baseball cap's line of sight. "Your husband called our emergency hotline," David explained, keeping his eyes steady. "He told us 3 armed men had broken into your home. They took him hostage and forced him to give them your banking details. They told him they were tracking your phone's GPS, and that if you didn't withdraw every cent from your savings and bring it to a designated drop point, they would kill him. He managed to break free for just enough time to dial the bank and the police before the line went dead." The room seemed to spin. The cold air of the bank suddenly felt suffocating. The man in the baseball cap wasn't just a stalker, he was the spotter sent to make sure I followed the instructions, grabbed the money, and didn't alert the authorities. He had no idea that my husband had bypassed the kidnappers' plan by calling the bank directly. "What do we do?" I choked out, tears finally spilling over my eyelashes. "They have my husband. If they realize I'm not coming out with the money, they'll—" "We already have police units en route to your residence," the security guard whispered. "And right now, undercover officers are surrounding this building. We need to keep the spotter here, believing everything is going according to plan, until backup is fully in position." David handed me a thick, heavy manila envelope. "This is filled with dummy paper. I want you to walk back to the counter, take this from Elena, and walk slowly toward the exit. The moment you cross the glass doors, our outside officers will move in on the spotter, and we will secure you." My legs felt like lead, but I knew my husband's life depended on me playing my part. I stood up. I walked back to counter number 3. Elena's hands were still shaking, but she gave me a brave nod as she handed me the heavy envelope. "Be safe," she breathed. I turned and walked toward the glass doors, holding the envelope tightly against my chest. Behind me, I heard the subtle rustle of fabric as the man in the baseball cap stood up to follow me out. Every single step felt like a mile. Just as my hand touched the cold metal handle of the exit door, the heavy glass doors behind me erupted with movement. Undercover officers swarmed the lobby from the side offices, pinning the spotter to the floor before he could even reach into his jacket. Within minutes, the spotter was in handcuffs. An hour later, sitting in the back of a police cruiser, I received the call that my husband had been safely rescued by a SWAT team who had breached our house. What started as a simple trip to withdraw $500 ended in a heart-stopping rescue, all because of a quick thinking teller and 3 whispered words, "Ma'am, sit down." Asterisk.